Hey everyone, welcome back to Holy Devoted. Today we're talking about girl drama and just how to navigate it biblically, just how to resolve those things and to do it in a Christ-like manner with one another. And Faith is laughing at me because my voice cracked, but I want to say thank you to Teen Missions, who is our sponsor. We just want to say if you want to come on a mission trip, go check us out at teenmissions.org. And even if you are an adult and you maybe would be interested in leading, you can still check us out. Voice crack again, but we're keeping it because I don't want to do it for a third time.
All
Faith.
right.
I'm so sorry.
You doing okay?
Yes, I was trying so hard to hold it in, and that always makes it worse. You did a great job, Ellie.
Do you want to
Good
do the
job.
fun question?
Yeah, I will. If you could only swim or fly, which one would you choose and why? Special note, you cannot walk anymore, but you can live a normal lifespan in whichever environment you choose.
I want to swim. I want to go explore the ocean.
Girl, you ever tread water?
No, but like, okay,
You're not allowed
No.
to not.
you're swimming, but like, you're meant to swim, you know?
I just imagine Tim standing on the bank while you're just there, like, paddling.
I'm not gonna no, but like, I can swim under the water and like, I can breathe underwater.
I'm just thinking.
So with... Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Faith.
I was just thinking, like, what would be more efficient? Because in my mind, flying is like totally the move.
Like, swimming, like, you can't... There's so many places you can't go.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, I think fly is the option. Can you stand? Like, can you just sit if you're
Or
flying?
are you hovering?
I know I made the question, but I
can't
don't really
walk.
make the rules.
But, like, birds can walk and fly.
no, but like, you're in the sky for the rest of your life.
Oh.
See? Ocean sounds a lot better right now, doesn't it?
It kind of does.
'Cause,
Just
like, would
flapping
you-
around.
You know how there's like, I think it's an albatross, but like, they can take off and fly for like 7 years before they have to land.
What?
Something
I
crazy
have
like that.
never... What?
Or like a year or something. Like they will
That's a
fly
long
and just be
time.
airborne for years until they land again.
Wild. That's
So like
crazy.
you're that bird, but for the rest of your life, and you're just
So
flying
either
around.
way, you're saying goodbye to your relationships, your work, everything.
You have a new life. It's in the sky or
Okay.
the ocean.
Totally different.
you-
Then I
what
would
do you
pick
do?
ocean. Because it sounds like I'm an aquatic creature then.
Sure.
Yes.
In my current state, I don't want to tread water for the next 70 years till I die.
I'm also thinking of, like, the things I enjoy now, which you could be a totally different person depending on the environment. But there's mountains under there, too. There's canyons.
That's true.
No,
Water hiking?
There's a lot to explore.
I agree.
But
There's
the
a lot of
sky-
animals.
Clouds, trees.
But if I
Those
can't
scary
land on a mountain, what's the
creatures.
point? If I can
Cliffs.
see all the pretty things and I can't
Can't-
hike it, what?
Swim seems to have better options
Maybe it does.
other than the treading.
Maybe I need
and
to work.
probably better dining as
I'll
well.
work harder on the question
Better
next time.
dining.
The food accommodations are seeming a lot nicer under there.
In the sky, you get bugs, you get birds.
Interesting.
I like shrimp.
Shrimp is yummy.
But,
bug, not
okay,
so much.
also, though, think about the threats. The
No.
sky.
I know. I thought
Not
about the
much.
threats.
Airplanes,
much.
maybe.
Oh,
Oh.
Helicopters?
Incredibles.
Oh, would the government get you?
Ooh.
What
How
are you
did we
flying?
sudnly just become fugitives? Will the government get...
Like,
what
what
did
if
I
you
do?
no, like if
Talking
you
about
fly into those
Helicopter
zones?
that
In a
she's talking about the
no-fly zone?
helicopter
Yeah.
that crashed into the airplane.
Yeah.
That's why she said that. Do you not know about that?
No, I do.
But yes, there are like planes and stuff in the air to watch out for. Like I said in The Incredibles, the
Yeah.
capes.
What if
No
you
capes.
accidentally swim into, enemy whatever, and
Enemy
there's just
waters?
missiles coming at you?
Oh,
You know what I'm
Oh,
saying?
no.
Like, there's underwater
Okay,
threat too.
so
Dude.
underwater
Okay, I
you
was
could
thinking about
pick
like
like
sharks
a
and
spot.
killer whales. When she said threats, that's what I
I
was
was
thinking of.
too, but now that you've mentioned helicopters and fighter planes, I'm like, okay, well, shoot. What about submarines? I stick with the mountains and canyons.
Underwater.
I still think underwater.
I think underwater. I think
underwater.
we're
Still
I think we're
pretty
unified on that.
yeah,
and
We
things
good?
like glow in
Yeah.
the dark. How fun is that?
that's pretty
Dude.
cool.
Yeah. All right, we're talking girl drama.
Oy.
Here we go.
Uh,
We've done one episode on this before, I think.
We're circling back because I'm new.
Enjoy. Exactly. Fresh perspectives.
There you go.
It'd be interesting to know if Faith and I just keep repeating the same things. I do worry about that. I'm like, people have got to be getting tired of me and Faith's opinions. Faith,
Oh, I'm
Faith
sure.
and I, our opinions.
Yeah.
I don't know how you say that. Once you get into plural with Faith and I don't know how you do that.
It's tough.
It is tough.
Faith
and
speak-
mine?
fe-
Faith
speak-
Our
That can't be
Faith
right.
in mine. People say
Minds?
faith in eyes, which is obviously wrong.
Faith and minds.
Faith.
Mine
Or
and
do you
Faith's.
say mine and Faith's
I think
opinions?
maybe
Mine and Faith's
Mine and
opinions.
mine and
Faith's
Faith's.
opinion.
Good.
That's what Faith's mom told me. Is mine and Faith's is correct.
I believe it.
Yeah. So I think that's right.
All right. Why do you guys think girl drama is so common in girl friendships? Is it just a part of life, or can we avoid it? Like, what's the root cause?
Sin.
Sin.
Yeah, I guess this question, like, is it a part of life? Yes, it's a part of life because of, like, you're living in the world.
It's unavoidable.
You can't, you're not going to be able to escape all of it all the
Mhm.
time, even if you yourself are choosing to not participate in it. But
There's a verse. Be at peace with all men as much as it depends on you.
yes.
Sorry if I interrupted
But
you.
like, can you avoid it? For the most part, yeah, I think you could actually do like a fairly good job of doing that. So it's not that you should just accept it and be like, well, people are just going to gossip around me. They're just going to
Mhm.
slander, and I just won't do it, but I can listen and sit here and take it all in. No, I think if you can avoid it, you definitely should.
Yeah.
But I also understand there probably are some times where it's really not up to you.
Yeah.
Yeah. As much as it depends on you. So like even the
Mhm.
Bible says like sometimes peace, you've done everything that you can do. So
Yeah.
you've done your
Yeah.
best, but if you're not doing your best,
Yeah.
work on it.
Also, in Proverbs 26:20, it says, "For lack of wood, the fire goes out, and where there is no whisperer, quarreling ceases."
That's
So,
a good one.
if you're putting wood on the fire, of course there's going to be more fire. If you're adding whispers to the gossip, of course there's going to be more gossip. It's going to multiply. But if it depends on you and you can stop it, stop putting wood on the fire.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Do you think it's worse with girls than guys?
Probably.
I think maybe it's worth. Well, I don't know.
I think it is. I feel like even like the verses in the Bible that talk about I think it's actually talking about widows and how like if they're widowed young then they should be remarried so that they don't go from house to house gossiping and slandering and
Mhm.
like busybodies. And I think that was so interesting, like it doesn't really, and it also talks about gossip and slander for women in the church just like as a whole in general. It's not really something that I feel like is targeted toward men. Not that they can't do it or that they don't do it. I'm confident that that happens in with men as well. But it seems like women have a natural tendency towards that a lot more than men for some reason. I don't know what trait that like correlates to that we have that tendency, but
I think we just like to talk.
Yeah.
And I don't think that talking to each other is a bad thing. Like, I think women, we just have a desire to talk just because we feel like we get more connected with each other when we talk to each other. So even if we don't have a good topic to talk about, we're like, I just want to yap,
yeah.
you know?
No, I saw this reel the other day and it was like me and my friend getting together hashing out the story that we talked about like 7 years ago. Like we talk about the same stories every single time and every
So
time
true.
I'm like, it's so good.
It's just
So
fun.
true.
yeah.
I also think with you, well, you know, maybe that's not true because there is like people have drama at different stages of life. But I say I also think with like young girls, we're all learning how to become women, and so there's like I saw a really funny comedian who talked about teenage girls who are listening. Please don't be offended because I also was a teenage girl once. But she was talking about how like teenage girls are learning how to use their evil powers for good, and I thought it was so funny because it's so accurate. Learning to use your strength as a woman to glorify God and to help the people around you, all of those things.
Yeah.
Like that's something that doesn't come naturally to us. That's something that we learn. And God has given, I wouldn't say they're evil powers, but strengths to women, and learning to use them for good is one of the things that I thought of. So I think sometimes like it's all like we're growing and we're learning, and so then we're bumping into each other in that process. And that's where some drama comes from. I also think women I feel like we just don't make up as simply as men do. Like bros can I'm constantly amazed by like the things that guys can say to each other, and they're like and then we just sort of like laughed it off and we're like we're good now. And I'm like, "Oh, if that was a girl conversation, that would have been like
A week-long feud.
It's
yeah,
over.
exactly. Oh, longer
Like,
Yeah.
it's,
potentially.
Completely terminated the
Yeah.
whole friendship.
yeah.
Yeah.
In some cases, something that a guy would say to another guy and is like, we're chill, we're buddies now. And girl said it to a girl and it's like, I hate her now. We are never speaking to each other ever again. It's like, why do we hold grudges like that?
Or even
Dang.
yeah, I was going to say even like friendships that maybe don't work out. maybe they'll just be like, okay, well, this isn't a good friendship. Guys will just split. Whereas girls are like, okay, well, now I'm going to sabotage their whole friend group.
She's
It's
my
like,
worst
what?
enemy
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
Like the drama.
Where did
You
this
can
come
just
from?
let it go, man.
I
You don't
heard
have
once
to.
that girls become friends because they hate the same things, and guys become friends because they like the same things.
That is,
And I thought that was a really interesting take. That was from my
it might be a sad but true case.
can
I
be.
don't think it's always the case, but I think that it
No.
can.
It's
It
like
totally
okay,
could be.
listen though. Here's a theory. And maybe it's not godly. Is there anything more wonderful though than discovering that somebody who you're friends with like loathes the same thing that you hate?
Yeah, because you can relate.
Yes. That's such a good feeling. Like, wait, you also hate poetry? Sorry if you like poetry. I don't like poetry. I don't like it. And we were just talking about it. I just found out someone at church was like, I hate poetry. And I was like, oh, yes. me too.
Yeah.
You guys both hate poetry?
I don't
No,
think Faith
I was
does.
just
No,
adding.
It's
Oh,
just someone
oh,
from
somebody-
church.
okay.
Yeah.
It's not me.
It's a weird thing. I don't know. I don't like poetry. I also hate
Alright.
biking. She loves biking.
I love it.
I also
Cycling.
enjoy biking. Sorry.
I
You
realized
said,
that
though, you had a good time.
Oh.
The last time you went.
Okay.
It's happening
feel
in
like-
the studio.
no, I have tendonitis and I haven't been able to run or lift weights for a month. I was destitute for any type of physical activity. And so I got on Joel's bike. That seat is 3 inches across.
No, it's
I-
painful.
was suffering. So I enjoyed it in the sense that I hadn't worked out in forever and I got in the sunshine and I got to listen to nature and like that. But like I still remember thinking like how I feel right now biking is probably how most people feel about running.
Yeah, probably.
So then I'm like, I don't understand why they hate running, but they don't understand why I hate biking. So
yeah.
anyways, discovering that people hate the same things that you do is kind of fun as long as it's not bad.
As
Like, it's
long as
not
it's
wrong.
not like it shouldn't be a
Yeah.
human being.
Yes.
No.
It's not bad to hate biking, but hating people is wrong.
There's a lesson you learn. Hating people is wrong.
Don't hate people.
Don't do it.
In case you missed that part in the Bible.
Yeah. It's actually right there at the beginning.
Yeah, actually, it's like right there at
Gotta
the
get it
start.
there than the earth.
No, it's like
Thou shalt.
thou shalt not.
I was thinking
That's
of
not
thou.
the beginning.
No,
No,
I
in
was
the-
thinking that hate
in
is
the
the same
first
as murder
section.
in your heart.
and they say do not murder. Like it's
Cain and
early in
Abel's,
there.
like talking about hatred.
okay, yeah, that's
Yeah.
fair. Cain
It's
and
pretty-
Abel.
I guess I'm
Pretty
tying in a New
fresh.
Testament principle to
Yeah.
the Old.
Okay. I was
Yeah.
like,
Anyways.
creation? Oh, the eye roll. Okay.
Oh.
No, I didn't mean for you.
Oh, I thought that wasn't me.
No, I meant me because my words were confused.
Oh, I thought you meant because I went to the beginning of the Bible.
No, I meant the beginning of the Bible. I just didn't say that. That was for me. Guys, I'm so sorry. Ellie's like, and now a live demonstration.
How I'm going to mediate between these two friends.
Kate sent help. All right.
We're totally joking.
No, you guys are good.
Oh, the next question.
You can read it.
No, you go ahead, Ellie.
You read it.
No, go.
All right. Have you ever experienced a conflict in a friend group that felt huge at the time but seems silly now? Yes.
Like biking?
Like biking.
I think it's a huge deal. No, I'm just kidding.
I don't remember.
The problem is if it seems silly now, like I feel like I wouldn't remember. You know, it would be
Yeah.
like a little thing.
Most of the time, that's like when it's misunderstandings, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There's miscommunication, and then you think they said a certain thing or did a certain thing, and you're like,
Mhm.
oh, that was so hurtful. And then you go to them and talk about it, and it's like, oh, you didn't even do that? Like, I was
Oh.
mad for no reason?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
A lot of those. I think a lot of the ones that end up being silly are just
Oh.
miscommunication.
This one I feel like is pretty common. Where like, okay, there's a group of people who are like at an event together and then they're like, hey, let's go get ice cream afterwards or whatever. And then you like that small group goes and then there's another friend who's like included in that group most of the time, but they weren't at the event. So then they
Mm.
didn't get to go get ice cream. So then they feel like everyone planned to go get the ice cream without them and they feel excluded.
We talked about that in the social media episode. It's a real problem with social media.
It
Like before,
really
you never
is.
would have known
Yeah.
that it happened. And it always feels intentional when you're the one who's left out.
Yeah.
When you're
Yes.
accidentally leaving other people out, it's not intentional and it doesn't
Because
feel
you know.
intentional. Yeah, because you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
I feel like that's one that happens, but is like you can get over it pretty quickly or
Mhm.
you can hold on to it for like forever.
And
if
blow
you-
it up into
yeah,
some big thing.
yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm. That's so true.
A lot of the big conflicts that happen, I do feel like the Bible talks about how it is. Oh, I can't remember how it's worded, but it basically is like saying covering an offense is like loving someone. Like so much
Oh,
of this
I
big
know what you're
drama
talking
is
about.
because someone can't just let an offense go. Like someone really did do something wrong against them. And listen, I'm talking to myself here because sometimes women and men both can be petty as all get out.
Yeah.
It's very easy to be petty. But I think part of diminishing conflict within your friend groups, within your relationships, is choosing to not be petty because it naturally lives inside of us.
Yeah, this verse, I think you might have quoted it earlier. It's Romans 12:16-18. It says, "Live in harmony with one another. Do not be haughty, but associate with the lowly. Never be wise in your own sight. Repay no one evil for evil, but give thought to do what is honorable in the sight of all. If possible, so far as it depends on you, live peaceably with all." And I guess I just thought of that section, repay no one evil for evil. Like, even if you feel like you've been wronged, that doesn't make it right for you to do something else wrong to them. Like,
Yeah.
two sins do not equal a righteousness. Like, it just is more sin. You're just multiplying sin. You're not getting justice by doing something bad to somebody just because they hurt your feelings. You're just creating more conflict.
Okay, also, I'm not saying that this is necessarily a spiritual perspective, but there is truth there. If someone hurts you or makes you angry or wrongs you, one of my least favorite feelings in the world is then also sinning and then having to go to the person who originally offended, hurt, did something wrong against me, and now I have to humble myself and apologize.
Yes.
Hate that feeling. So sometimes I hold my tongue because I'm like, do you want to come back and apologize? And I'm like, I do not. And so that sometimes can help me gather some self-control because I'm like, no, I want to come out of this not having continued to fan the flames and stuff. And so some of it is a spiritual side that like, I don't want to misstep. I don't want to hurt people, all of those things. But a little percentage of it also is like, do you really want to have to come back and apologize for your behavior when someone else wronged you?
Yeah.
No, I don't.
That's totally fair. That happened to me once, and I worked up so much. There were like other people that witnessed the situation and like it was obvious like there was wrong on both parts. And so I was like, okay, I got to go apologize. And I was like working myself up for it. I was like, you have to go into this with the right heart. I went. I apologized. One of the hardest things I had ever done at the time. I was struggling. I was 14 also. So it seemed like a huge deal. Really wasn't that deep.
I
but
know, that's true.
Apologized. They did not apologize for their part. And I left the conversation and they didn't forgive me either for my part. That I already was like not wanting to ask forgiveness for. And I immediately angry. I was like, I take it all back. Yeah. I walked away and I went back to like
take that
back. Yeah, I walked away and I was like back with like the group of friends and they were like, did you do it? Are you guys okay now? And I was like, no, I'm angry and I'm going to have to apologize again because my heart is still not right. Yeah, it was a toughie.
Oh, you know another thing that causes drama? I don't know if we're just coming up with lists of things that cause drama, but is there are sometimes if you know, okay, I want to get your take on this because I'm so curious what you both think. Sometimes if you go and apologize to someone about something that they don't even know about, I feel like that stirs up drama that doesn't need to be there. Like, get your heart right with God and then leave it.
I think it depends on what it is.
I agree. It depends on what it is. I think we've actually talked about this before on the podcast.
I don't know if I have.
Yeah, not with Ellie here.
Like, okay, this might be a Garbo example, so if it is, you can let me know and be like, that's actually not.
Oh, it's okay. I'll put it on the garbage disposal for you if it's bad.
Amazing.
No, I'm just joking.
Kate?
Yeah. Kate, our editor.
Like, if, let's say, totally hypothetical, and maybe I shouldn't be using us as examples, but I feel like we're close enough that it's fine. Like, let's say that Emma came to me and said something mean about Ellie, and maybe I didn't, like,
love the shock. That was good.
Yeah.
Emma would never.
I didn't like feed into it, but I listened, or I didn't, correct you and be like, hey, that's not a nice thing. You shouldn't be saying that about Ellie. That's not even true. Like I didn't stop you. And I felt convicted, like, oh man, I participated in gossip. In that situation, I don't think I would go to Ellie and be like, hey, Emma said all these really nasty things about you behind your back. And I just wanted to apologize that I participated in that conversation and didn't stop her. Like
that's what I'm saying. Like
that would stir up.
I would say
I think you should. That would.
I
be
would say in that
stir the pot.
In that situation, I would go to Emma and say, "Hey, I realized that conversation was not led by the Lord."
I completely agree.
That's good.
Okay.
That's a good example.
Yes. No, not a Garbo.
I have a different example. Okay.
Emma has been in that situation before and had to go and be like,
"Oh, that is tough. Sorry."
Oh,
That you
Ellie
had to do
probably
that.
has too.
I don't remember off the top of my head.
No, saying when like you shouldn't have said something and you go back to the person
well,
you said it to, like, hey,
of
I
course,
realized that I
yeah.
did not have the right heart when I
Yeah.
said that and I
No,
shouldn't have
for
said it.
sure.
I apologize. Please also never repeat that to anyone.
Yes. My other example of like apologizing to somebody for something they didn't know you did. If for example you had a roommate and then you ate some of their food and you didn't tell them, or like you used some of their milk or whatever, and they didn't give you prior approval, then they didn't notice, but then you're like, oh man, I feel really bad about that. Then I would say that's one where you should
I agree.
go and
Yeah.
apologize.
Go and apologize for
And maybe
yes.
like maybe I don't know. Milk's not like super expensive, but if it was something that was like eggs are really nice of theirs or like more expensive, then I think that
Or
I
it's
would
something
have
that
to-
you've been doing for a while.
yes, like you've been
Repeated,
repeatedly,
yeah.
you should also be compensating them for the money that they spent on those
Yeah.
eggs that you ate.
I agree. So I don't know if we just got caught in the weeds there with apologizing. I think really apologizing comes down to the conviction of the Holy Spirit.
Yeah.
Yeah. He has a way of tapping on my shoulder when I need to apologize to someone.
Amen.
Being like, hey, you should not have said or done that. And I'm
That's
like,
a good thing.
and then I go and apologize. So follow the leading of the Spirit. He guides you and he convicts us because God loves us as children. So
Yeah.
How do you handle a situation where you're caught in the middle of two friends who aren't getting along? And what do you do if what? My brain just forgot how to read.
What?
I was like, and what if you how would you
How do you do
What do
have
you
you ever
if
had a
you-
dream?
when you Okay, hold up.
Just read at that question. Just leave that
What
one
do
in.
you do if they want you to take sides? There we go.
This is a tough one because if they're coming to you at different times, it's like you're getting both sides of the story.
I know. Do you act like you don't know anything?
Normally, I feel like I don't even remember what I do, but if somebody were to come to me and be like, "Hey, I'm having drama with this person." And you're like, "Okay, well, what have you done about it? Have you talked to them? Have you apologized? Do you need to apologize? Like, whatever." And then the other person comes to you and they're like, "Hey, I'm having drama with person A." And you're like, "Well,
Did person A talk?
did person A come and talk to you yet?" And then they're
Yet?
like,
Yeah.
"What do you know?"
Yeah,
And you're like,
exactly.
I didn't mean it.
And now you're in the middle of it,
uh,
right? Now
whoops.
you're in trouble.
Dang it. Like,
Yeah.
oh, that's so tough. Anyways.
With taking sides, I feel like most of the time with most of this type of drama that there's probably issues on both sides. So
Yeah.
I'd say be Switzerland as much as you can be in World War II.
Literally.
Try and be neutral.
Be
What's
neutral.
really hard almost is when one is like really obviously in the wrong.
Mm.
You know, that's tough. But even the Bible talks about how like the first person you hear from sounds right. And then you hear from the second person and you realize there's like a whole situation.
Oh, it's more
Yeah.
complicated.
There's a verse in Proverbs that talks about that. So I think probably the best thing you can do is just be like supportive, but not get involved. Just be like, hey, maybe you need to talk to them about it because it sounds like something that you're really upset about.
Yeah.
And if you're that upset about it, it sounds like a conversation might need to be had. And then also just be like straight up like, listen, I don't like getting involved with issues. And so I'm not trying to be a bad friend. Like I want to support you, but I'm also friends and I want to protect my friendship with them. And I want to protect my friendship with you. Both.
Yeah.
Yes.
I value both of you. So if you could
You could. You
if
could.
you could
If you
sort
could
it
fix
out,
it.
that'd probably be best for all of us. But that's scary to say, so it is hard.
It is,
I'm not saying
yeah.
it's easy.
I think there's only been one time. Like most of the time I feel like well, I guess I shouldn't say most of the time. I guess in my experience, when people have come to me to talk about issues, they're already starting to feel like convicted about the situation. And that's why they're going to another person because they want counsel or advice or prayer. You know, like they're already starting to feel like, yeah, I think I need to take action, you know? Not saying that that's true in every case, just saying in my
Your
experience, that's what's happened a lot of times. And so then you encourage that person, like you were saying, you need to go talk to so-and-so. I don't think you need to spill the beans of everything that you know from all the different angles of the story. That's not your place. Your place is to tell both people to talk to each other, to make it right, to pray with them, to whatever. But I also, like, there was a time where, like, the same person came to me about the same situation, I think 2 or 3 different times. And the third time, I was like, have you done anything that have you talked to them at all? Have you progressed in this at all? Because it's sounding like the same thing that's happening again and again. And they were like, no, I'm still just kind of like, just kind of sitting in it, just kind of here. And I was like, okay, well then this is no longer like you coming to me for advice as an unbiased party. Like now you're coming to me just to vent. And I've already told you everything I can tell you. And if you're not going to talk to that person, then we'll go together and talk to them because I can't be a part of this situation. Like I feel accountable now for the things that you're talking to me about and like the situation if progress isn't being made. And so I literally stood there and watched them. I was like, why don't you just text them right now and see what they're doing? If you can talk to them right now and get it figured out, because it seems necessary. And they were like, yeah, I guess so. So then they texted them right then, and they're like, dang it, they're free. And I was like, okay, perfect.
Let's go talk to them.
Then you guys can go work it out right now.
Yeah.
And so, like, sometimes, like, if it's happening multiple times back to back, not that you need to be mean or rude, but you also need to be like, hey, this is important. And like Emma was saying, like, I'm being honest with you. I'm not going to be involved anymore if you don't take any action to help the situation.
Yeah.
But also, like, don't go to, I don't know where this policy came from in my life. I don't know. But I try really hard if I'm struggling with someone and I want to talk it out with somebody to find someone who doesn't know them and is completely unconnected.
Like a third party, a neutral third party.
So that I'm not talking about someone they even know. Like, it doesn't change their perspectives of anyone.
Right.
So that's really something that I sort through in my mind. Like, okay, do they know this person? Do they have previous history with them or any of that? And then I just try and find someone who's outside of that circle, which can be challenging. That can be challenging to find someone outside of the circle because you know a lot of people who know each other. But I think that's a big way that you're going to cut down on like things. You know, all these explosions and girl drama and mess all starts with such tiny things.
Yeah.
It's so tiny. And then it's all the she said to who said to he said and then people repeating. If someone complains to you about someone else, don't go to the person and tell them what the other person said.
Oh yeah, that's just creating.
Yeah.
That's like feeding into it. Just talk, like say.
Shut the first person down. Don't ever tell the other person what they said
or anybody else. No one else needs to know either.
No. Yeah. That's also could spread more drama. Oh man. What a chain reaction. Be the chain in the chain reaction that breaks it, that stops it from spreading.
It's literally. I mean, James talks about it like that. The tongue is like a blazing flame. Just consumes everything.
It's true.
That's what comes to my brain when you guys are talking about gossip and stuff. Like it gets out of control so fast.
Ephesians 4:29 says, "Let no corrupting talk come out of your mouths, but only such as is good for building up, as fits the occasion, that it may give grace to those who hear." Is what you're saying giving grace to those who hear, or is it corrupting talk?
That's convicting.
Me too.
Okay.
I felt that.
The verses in James, I like memorized some of those ones about like who can tame the tongue, and it's so convicting. But okay, so how can you tell when it's time to let go of a friendship rather than keep trying to fix it?
It's a hard one because it's sad to see a friendship end. But sometimes I think, kind of like Faith was saying before, if it's like a repeated pattern of like negative behavior and like feeding into gossip and like if this person is always coming to you with problems with other people and you're seeing like a pattern and a trend of them like being hurtful to others and even like if they're being hurtful to you and they're, if it's a repeated pattern and you can tell that they're not trying to stop it, like if they're wanting to be the drama, which I hope that no one really does, but I know that some people do want to be the drama, then I think that would be your sign of like, this is a repeated pattern. They're not trying to stop. I've given them advice. They haven't taken it. They're not trying to follow, the will of God and stopping gossip or whatever in this arena. Maybe this is my sign to back off or to like, maybe you don't have to cut them off entirely, but you just have to take a large step back of like, this can't be my best friend because she wants to create conflict or she wants to stir up or whatever. Yeah. Or he or whatever.
You definitely need to learn what healthy boundaries are in that setting of how close you are to that person. But I totally agree with you. I think an unwillingness to grow or to change or unwillingness to resolve the problem as like a general theme, I would say would determine it. Like if you're the only one who's willing to work on the problem, there's only so much you can do.
Also, I don't know if this is connected with this question or another one, but I think another thing happens that causes a lot of drama, and like in this situation, it might be time to let go, is when we moralize issues that aren't moral issues. So I've been thinking a lot about this lately, that it's really easy to make things that we care about almost like a right and wrong or like moral issue when they're really not.
Mm.
Like, oh, what's a good example that frustrates people? I don't know, being on time, or like in a sense, it's not really a moral issue. You know what I'm saying? But these are like personality differences that spark like a lot of conflict within people. And so I think also looking at that and checking your own heart, like, am I just really like caring too much about something that isn't actually like of a spiritual value? And that's where conflict is coming from. Or even within friendships, like, is this a friend who gets really upset or causes conflict over things that really aren't moral issues or aren't a big deal? Those would be like warning signs that maybe this friend isn't, I don't know, compatible with you as a friend.
Do you ever struggle with judging others who gossip? And I put this question because it's something that like I felt convicted of before, cuz I know that sometimes I've struggled with like the whole gossip and drama thing like in high school or whatever, but then on the other hand, if I'm recognizing that and then I'm seeing it in other people and I'm like, "Oh, you're a gossiper," then I sometimes in my heart have like a judging feeling towards them. And then I'm like, "Well, now I'm feeling convicted about that because it's not my place to judge what they're doing." So, I don't know. I just put this question because I don't know. I want myself to be reminded that I'm only responsible for my own words and my own actions. And like if a friend comes to me and asks for advice, then yes, I would tell them. Like if a friend came up to me and she said like, "Hey, do you think that I talk about other people too much or that it's turning into gossip?" Then I would say I could talk to her and give her advice. But if it's just like a random person that I'm noticing is gossiping, it's not really my place to tell them how like until they come to me on a level that's like asking for input. It's not my job to correct them or to convict them. I'm not the Holy Spirit. That's not my job.
She said, I saw my job description.
That's not
It
my
wasn't
job
on there.
description.
Yeah. I think it's very easy to judge others for the gossip that they do or the things that they stir up, when also we're all tempted to be the same way. And we've all in some point been the drama causer.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
It's,
like we've all been
it's
there.
sin.
We're
We
all
sin.
capable. All three of
Yes.
us are capable.
Yeah.
And so we need to have like a tender heart for those people. And yeah, I don't know. This might not be helpful at all. Something really hard is telling the truth to your friends in love and knowing when you should do that and when you shouldn't. And so that especially in like areas of gossip and stuff like that, it's really hard to know like if that's something that you should voice to your friend, like, "Hey, I noticed this," but also, oh, I don't know. It's just, I don't know.
It's so awkward to go up
It
to
is
someone
really
and
awkward.
to go up to your friend and be like, "Hey, I think you struggle with talking about other people."
Yeah, that
Oh,
brutal.
you'd have to be
Yeah.
close, man. That would have to be the Lord like working and speaking through me.
Listen, the hack I heard from someone was, you just make it a you problem. You say, "Listen, I'm really struggling with gossip and I'm trying to get better. Can you hold me accountable to get them to stop gossiping to you?" Which maybe that's manipulative and dishonest. I don't know. But it is true if you are struggling.
Yeah.
I think it could be effective. But
Yeah, no, I think we all have a tendency to judge others more harshly. Is that proper grammar?
It's the plank in the eye.
Yeah, when it's something that you struggle with. So I've noticed like people who have personalities that are a lot like mine. I'm like, like I judge them harsher on the issues that I struggle with. If that makes sense.
yep.
Like if someone is like super opinionated or like they answered quickly or whatever, I'm like, oh my gosh, like why couldn't they just be more kind? Why couldn't they just do whatever? And then I'm like, oh, it's because it's me. It's because that's an area. Yeah. I'm like, it's because it's an area in my life where like I need to be working on that as well. And sometimes I think we can do that without even realizing. Whereas like something that we don't struggle with as much, maybe we have a little more grace just because we don't understand fully. I don't know if that makes sense, but
yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, the Bible verse that I was referencing about the plank in the eye is it says to take the plank out of your own eye before you try and get a speck out of your brother's eye.
Yeah.
It says if you got a plank sticking out of your eyeball, how are you supposed to even see well enough to help your brother get the speck out of his
Yeah.
eye? You're just gonna hit him in the face with your
Yeah.
plank.
I was just about to say, you really actually can't even get close.
You're actually just
Like
gonna smack him in the
jousting.
head with the plank that's
Yeah.
sticking out of your eye.
What it makes me think of, and I can't remember who said this to me, but they said, I judge everybody else by their actions, and I judge myself by my intentions.
It's actually a
Yes.
psychological thing.
It is so
It's-
true.
Wait, there's a name for it.
Yeah, it's like something bias.
Hold on.
I was
We
really
literally
scared
did
you're gonna
this-
say something like narcissistic personality disorder. I was gonna be like,
No, we literally did this in
I
class.
have a disorder. But you know what I'm talking about. Like, that's
Yeah.
really how we, like, I judge myself by my intentions. Well, I didn't mean it that way. I didn't intend it that way. Or I was trying to do, or I was tempted. It was hard. You know what I mean? All these things.
Mm-hmm.
And
And for them though,
I know I'm like,
They
"Why-
just
why
did it bad.
You just did that.
they're
Like,
just bad at what they
yeah,
did,
And then I judge them.
and they had bad intentions. And
yeah.
it's like,
And then you
no.
stir up girl drama.
they probably had good intentions, and they probably just had bad actions.
Yeah.
We're like, yeah. But if
I-
you had a bad action,
Wait, I have a question. Oh, wait. Faith has something.
Sorry, no, it's really not that important. I just figured out what it's
Go.
called. We did a whole homework assignment on it, and I was
Go,
like,
go, go.
dang, I
Yeah.
don't remember.
It's on you.
Fundamental attribution error. A
Oh.
cognitive bias where people overemphasize internal factors like personality to explain others' behaviors while underestimating external factors like the situation.
So wait, is it a disorder or is it something we all have?
it's something we all have. So like, if
Right?
if Faith came in late one day, I'd be like, well, yeah, it's just her fault because she's a late person. But if I was late, then for me, it's just because of everything else that happened in the morning.
Because, the bridge went up at
Yeah.
Yeah.
the river or the,
Dude, I have the best meme in the world to show you. Remind me after this
Okay.
because it's so funny. Sorry, you guys. I'm sorry. I realized I was like
Sorry.
inside joke. Whatever. Hey, come
What
to
was
school
your
here. I'll
question?
show you memes. Oh, I remembered because I think this would be so good, and I really want to know what you guys are gonna say, and I need time to think about what my answer is, so I can ask it, and then you guys can answer, and then I can say something if something comes to my mind. How would you encourage someone who is really like in the midst of girl drama directed towards them, like, that's really hard. All those different things happening, people being unkind. Like, what encouragement or advice would you give to a girl who's experiencing that?
It gets better. It doesn't last forever. That girl drama will blow over, and you'll get new friends at some point, someday. And they will probably be better friends than the ones you have now that are causing drama. They're not your real friends if they're gossiping about you. Ugh,
fair.
God.
I
And
only
also,
said fake friends.
Get better friends.
Yeah.
Don't-
or,
yeah.
honestly, in that case, it's better because I feel like people are like, well, I can't get rid of these friends because then I won't have any. You'd be living
No friends is better than bad friends.
Amen.
Honestly. And you
As-
gotta have space for the new ones to come in.
Yay.
So I feel like I had a season.
Pray for new friends.
Yeah, I definitely
Amen,
had a
yeah.
season in my life where I felt like I had no friends, which probably wasn't true. Like, I'm sure I had some friends, but it just didn't feel like I had really close friends. And I was missing that. And I was like, dang, why do I not hang out with this person anymore or that person? Well, hindsight being 2020 wasn't a healthy friendship anyways. Like, the Lord knew what he was doing taking that person out of my life. And I'm grateful that those friendships ended and that I went through the time of like not having friends so that there was space for me to have good, healthy friendships. But I also think it's important, like Emma was like asking about, like, those people, if they're gossiping about you or judging you or whatever, and it's causing all this drama, like, I don't know. I feel like my tendency would be to blame myself almost and be like, oh man, like feeling bad about yourself. When in reality, like, those people do not determine who you are or like your identity. And so your identity is not in that friend group. It is not in what they think about you. And also what they think about you and view and like how they view you is probably not an accurate representation of how the general population views you as a
Yeah.
human being. Like, what they're saying about you does not determine your character. So there's that. And the only opinion
So there's that.
The only opinion that really matters is the Lord's.
There it is.
And so if you are really concerned, like, oh my goodness, like, is that stuff true? Like, are those really areas I need to grow on? Go to people above you that are close to you, that know you and love you, like your parents, and be like, hey, this is the situation. This is what's going on. Can you tell me, like, was I, get advice in that area? Because I feel like, at least my situation, and it doesn't have to be your parents, whoever your mentors are.
Like a church mentor or someone. And also,
Yeah.
if you don't have a lot of friends or you don't feel like you have a lot of mentors, like you take the first step. You be the friend to someone
Mhm.
else. You
Mhm.
Put effort
ask
in.
somebody to be your mentor at church that you trust to be
Yeah.
like a wise
I agree with
counselor.
that.
Like if you're like, I don't have any friends, I don't have any mentors, there's nobody. Like you go be that person for somebody else.
Mhm.
You be the
Yeah.
friend to somebody who you see doesn't have them.
Yeah,
Yes.
I agree.
My dad gave me that advice when, and it's actually like a core memory for me. When I was
Mhm.
going to the Peanut program here at Teen Missions, which they don't have it anymore, but it was like a kids camp for 7 to 9-year-olds. And I was so scared about making friends. And he was like, well, you just find the person in the group who doesn't have a friend and go be their friend. Like, you guys will be friends with each other. And so then it made it like a mission. Like, okay, well, now I'm going to
There
be
it
a
is.
friend to someone else. And I ended up like making friends with people who actually weren't friendless. Like, they low-key had a whole friend group. And I was like, wait, no, it's me. I'm the one without what? But then I ended up in a friend group. So I was like, wow, it works.
What if the whole thing was
Boom,
like a huge
testimony.
psychological thing because your parents were worried about you being lonely?
No,
I
my
think
parents told me
it
that
low-key
too.
kind of was.
Wait.
Brutal.
I feel like it
Oh.
was. I mean, no, they were like, be nice to kids who don't have friends.
Yeah.
But it also, I think, was like, this is a good way for Faith to make friends, is like, go see someone who's by themselves, and then you can have.
They were worried that she was the one by themselves.
No, I think they might have been. I mean,
Dude, that's psychological warfare.
No,
Dude, that's
it's not.
impressive.
That's a good thing though.
No, I'm
It
not saying
worked
it's
well.
a bad thing.
Oh, okay.
I've always thought of it
Because-
as Steve was telling Faith to be nice to the kid who's left out. I never thought of it from the perspective of a parent being concerned that their kid could be left out, so they're saying like be friendly.
that was like, no, I think it was both.
Well, yeah.
Like,
I think
the
it was
only
both.
thing that motivated me to talk to new people was feeling bad for that person instead of myself. Which is backwards. I mean, not backwards, because you should be thinking of others before yourself.
So actually,
it was
Jesus,
Jesus
joy
other
others.
yourself.
I'm just saying that's like genius
Successful.
parenting.
it worked. What
I
can you
just
say?
never thought of like that's pretty.
Yeah,
genius
you're like
parenting.
doing a godly thing and you get a friend. 'cause
Self-preservation.
Even when you're
Pretty
awkward.
epic.
Oh man, even when you're awkward.
No, I was like, how?
Throw
wait.
back to when Ellie was like talking about dating, and she's like, "I bet you've had awkward moments."
LOL.
You've had awkward moments.
It's so
I
funny.
just like
Ah.
realized, like, wait, you're not alone at all. Like, I don't know why they were separated from the group. They just looked lonely, and I was like, oh, poor soul, they must be lonely. But you know what? It got me to talk to them, and then they were like, oh yeah, I realized later that they were popular, and I was like, what?
I think it's really easy when all this drama, going back to like if the drama is against you, whatever else, it's really easy to self-isolate. Like you were kind of talking about, like your parents didn't
Yeah.
want you to isolate. And I don't know about you guys, but a lot when I'm like really, and we talked about this in our emotions episode, but when I'm really upset, like self-isolation, sometimes it's good. Sometimes I need to go and not
Yeah.
self-isolate, sort some things out with God. Definitely have done that before when I'm really frustrated. Just gone, especially out in nature, be like, drop me off, Joel. I need some time alone. But if you self-isolate too much, it kind of just becomes like a pity party. And then you're like, oh my gosh, everyone's leaving me out and I'm all alone. When you also told everyone to leave you alone. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
I'm
Ellie.
sorry.
Hey,
She's like,
girl, we all do it
I've
though.
done it
We go-
myself,
Oh,
and I'm
okay.
rolling my eyes at myself because I'm like, why did you do that, Ellie? That's stupid.
I thought you were rolling eyes at
sorry,
other people. And I was
not
gonna
at
say,
you guys.
I mean,
it's at
we
me.
shouldn't judge
I'm
people
sorry.
who have self-isolated and then felt lonely.
I'm sorry. I'm not judging you. I'm judging myself.
You can judge me too. Anyways, and so hopefully you don't have, I mean, sometimes it is self-isolating if all the drama is with everybody and you don't have anybody, like that, it just could be a natural thing that happens. But don't push everybody away and come up with excuses to feel sorry for yourself, because
Yeah.
we do that and it's not helpful. So, yeah. All right.
It's good.
Should I do the outro? Call
Send
it
it.
good?
Let's go.
All right. Thanks so much. Okay, I realized I'm bending over while I did that, so it's probably awkward.
Hey.
Thanks so much for watching. We hope that this episode was a blessing to you. And I never do the outros. What am I doing?
Ooh, harder than you think.
Oh, yeah. We want to say, you heard it from her. We want to say thank you to our sponsors, Teen Missions International. They take teens on mission trips. And so if you're interested in serving the Lord this summer, we still have teams open for 2025. Also, if you are older than a teenager and you're interested in being a leader, we also have opportunities for people to serve as leaders on teams. So look them up at teenmissions.org. We got it.